Young, soon-to-be teachers like us are so excited to get into the field, but unfortunately studies have shown that approximately 46% of us quit within the first 5 years.
So the question is, why do so many teachers want to quit?
Well, first let's look at some of the research. Let's compare the turnover rate of teachers to 2 other jobs. 46% of teachers will quit within the first 5 years. This is a shocking statistic when you look at these of other numbers. Doctors, a profession that many of us would agree is a very stressful one, will only have 5.7% quit within the first 5 years. Engineers come in with a very low turnover rate. Only about 3% of engineers will quit within the first 5 years. That's alarming when you look back at the original 46% for teachers.
One interesting fact is that teaching has the highest burnout rate of any public service job.
Another interesting piece of information is that teachers under 30 years old are 51% more likely to leave the profession than those over 30 years old.
Another factor that contributes to teachers' desire to quit is that they are one of the lowest paid among most professionals. The national average of teaching salaries is $46,931, and the Colorado average is $49,720.
Now, one of the most common reasons for teachers wanting to quit is because of all the testing. Testing, and more testing. On average, each student will have taken more than 60 tests before they graduate high school, and more than 240 hours will be spent on testing. Teachers don't like it because no feedback is usually given on how to perform better. They don't allow for creativity or diversity. Teachers are pressured to teach to the test, wasting precious class time. They test only to benefit administration, politics, and finances, but not the children. The children could be doing something much more valuable with their time. Testing labels the school as success or failure. There are biases towards students with the same cultural upbringing as test makers. The lower the scores equals lower educational opportunities for children. The tests focus on what students can't do and don't know instead of what their strengths are.
Now let's take a look at the financial help schools get. Here it shows that 3% of government spending goes toward education. About $85 billion is spent on testing each year. That means more than 1/2 of the entire education budget of $102.3 billion is spent on testing children. That's 1/2 of what is spent on national debt interest, 1/6 of what's spent on the military, and 1/11 of what's spent on Social Security, unemployment, and labor.
We have to remember, though, that most educational funding comes from the state. Fortunately, Colorado funds education more than most states, with a total of 33.4% spending between K-12 and higher education.
All of this research is shocking, but taking a look back at what teachers had to say about the stresses of teaching is even more startling. Marta Nielsen of Vista, California says, "My classes are too full. I have 38 students with no aid, and the standardized tests create an atmosphere of fear and stress."
Stephen Nadell of Oklahoma City says, "The finances are all messed up. We can't even afford some of the classroom essentials, like scissors or butcher paper."
And Alex Fechner of Denver, Colorado says, "There is so much work to be done off the clock that I don't get paid for. Also, standardized tests are insane and hold teachers accountable for things that cannot be achieved. One idea does not work for an entire nation."
As sad and possibly surprising as these interviews were, other and more popular reasons teachers gave us include a lack of support by leadership, poor pay, disrespectful students and parents, lack of respect for the profession, exhaustion, no separation of work and personal life, expectations versus how much they're paid is unsustainable, micromanagement by administrators and government officials belittle teachers, and the expectations are set by officials who have never even taught before.
The conclusion that we can draw from all this data is that something needs to be done. The question is what? All we know for sure is that us teachers need to stay strong. The kids need us, and we need to stick around in order to make a difference in their lives and in the lives of teachers.
Here are some things to remind yourself when you have your own classroom. No teacher is perfect, but you can still be effective and successful. You can stay confident in your direction and also be flexible. Get to know your coworkers. They can be more help than you think. Always put the best interest of your students first. Learn to separate home and school. It's always okay to ask for help. Be open with your students and families. They care just as much as you do. It's okay to be wrong. Be proactive, not reactive. Always remember to breathe and enjoy your students. After all, the kids are what it's all about.